Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Nice Longer Care YouTube channel. My name is Lucas, and today I'm making the follow-up to how to make your own FSA ID. And now we're doing the part of the reason why you made the FSA ID, and that is how to fill out your FAFSA. So today we're going to go through the FAFSA. Now you may be saying, Lucas, what is the FAFSA? Well, the FAFSA, my dear friend, is your best bet at getting all kinds of free financial aid from the state and federal government. Essentially what this is, it is the free application for federal student aid. Okay? That's what the FAFSA is. So it is always free, don't pay for it. There are websites out there that will get somebody to be like, hey, I'll fill out your FAFSA if you'll pay me some money. Well, you don't need to pay them any money because you got me to help you out today. And if I'm not good enough, and I'm not in a lot of cases, especially if there's a complicated situation, call a financial aid representative at the school you were looking to attend, and whether that's at a university, a community college, or a technical school, they'll help you out. I promise you, they want you to get financial aid too, because that means they get paid. And they don't really care whether that money comes from you, or from the government, or from other scholarships, or whatever. As long as they get paid, that's all that matters. So, today we're going to fill out the FAFSA. I'm going to show two links here. I'm going to show you one and then I'll back up. The first one is this link here. I'm going to swap over. If you didn't check out the FSA ID video, this was the old FSA ID video link. That's what you need to go to if you need to make an username to do the FAFSA. FSAID.ed.gov. I'll try and put, if I remember, I'll try and put a little card somewhere on the screen to remind you if you need to go get your FSA ID. I'll put a link to our video of how to make your own FSA ID. But for today, we don't need FSA ID. We just need the FAFSA. And once you go to FAFSA.ed.gov, that link, the second link now, I'll even link it. That link right there. It'll bring you to this page. And it looks like this. What you'll need to do is click Start Here. If you have not made an FSA ID, or let me rephrase that, if you haven't started your FAFSA. If you have not started at all, click here. If you have, it doesn't really matter. They take you to the same page. But for some reason, they're trying to tell you, hey, there's two different things. But click Start Here if you're starting a FAFSA. If you already have one, you can log in. You can go right into it. And it'll bring you to this page. I'm going to click here, and then I'll make this get full screen. It'll bring you to this page here. Now, I'm using a test version of the website, so I'm going to do things a little bit differently. What you should do is you should already have an FSA ID, so you'll click I'm the student, and look, you can log in. See, there's a reason why we did it this way. I got you. So you're going to just fill it out, put your username or your email, put your password in here, hit next. If you haven't made one, you can create one here. I would not suggest doing this. I'll show you what this means by logging in with the student identifiers, because it's what I'm going to have to do. This is what you should do. Log in this way. FSA ID is way better. Just trust me on this. Trust me. Okay? Go through it, make one. You'll have to do it before the end of this anyway. FSA ID. Now, I'm going to go here. If you don't have an FSA ID and you're like, oh, I don't want to make one, Lucas, that's fine too. You go this way, that's fine. I won't get upset with you. But so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in Lucas, and my actual name is not Nice Longer, but I'm going to put Nice Longer Care as my last name. I'm fancy. My social security number will be really interesting. Look at that. And my birthday, I was born January 1st of 2001. 1101. That's right. Not really. That's not my birthday, but it is for Lucas Nice Longer Care. So, you can log in this way, put your information in here, not your parents, you, the student. Notice it says the student's first name. People, sometimes the parents will fill this out for you and they'll put their stuff in here. That doesn't help you any. That's filling out faster for them. So, make sure you put all this stuff in. Then we hit next. It says, hey, and when you do this, it says, it looks like you already have some stuff. If you think you already have a FAFSA, let us know. I don't already have a FAFSA, so I'm going to hit next again. And it gives you a disclaimer. It just says, hey, you're operating on some government stuff. That's fine. And it brings you to this screen. This is important. If you are looking to graduate early and graduate in December and you want to start school in the spring, first of all, I'll tell you to make sure you go talk to an advisor about that. It's not always the best option. But if that's what you want to do and that's what you feel like is the best for you, that's cool, good for you. You need to fill out an 18-19 FAFSA because technically you're going to school in the current year, not the next year. For everyone else, if you're going to school in the fall or even in the summer to some extent, depending on what schools like TCAP, for example, starts school like in a weird trimester system, and so they would use the same system for this. You fill out this one. You're going to fill out the 19-20 because you're going to graduate at the end of 2018-19, and then you're going to go to school in 2019-20. So always pick this unless you got an odd situation where you're going to school in the spring of the year you graduate. So that would be then. Otherwise, click this one. So for basically everyone, just click this one. And honestly, if you fill this one out and you still have to do this one, you're fine. Just click this one. If you click that, it says, hey, you need to create a save key. Now, you can do this however you want. This is, hey, I have to log back into my FAFSA and they want to make sure it's you. So you have to be able to use your save key. I'm going to do a really complicated save key. Holy cow. Of 1, 2, 3, 4. That means, okay, so you wouldn't know this, but I know this. That random sound means someone subscribed to one of my channels. That's good. I do video game stuff. That's good. Side job. So anyway, I'm gonna make my save key 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 for both. Good for you. That's all that matters. GG, easy. And then you're going to hit next. And then wait, because sometimes this website's a little buggy. It may crash on you a couple times. Just be ready for that. It's all good. Now, these are really important. If you don't have someone helping you fill out your FAFSA, I would strongly suggest reading through at least a couple of these. I'm here to help a little bit, but if you're not having like a professional help you or someone in your school, like a counselor help you, these wouldn't be a bad thing to look at. And actually, the first one's how can you get help? So I'm just saying, if you need help, then there you go. I'm also going to help you a little bit, but not entirely. So then brings you to some screens. Honestly, the FAFSA for the most part, for the first couple sections, is just filling stuff out. So my middle initial is going to be G for the greatest. So Lucas, the greatest Nice Longer Care guy. And then most of the other stuff's filled out. You don't have to worry about it. Notice that it says you and your always belongs to the student. And this right here is important. It says student information. It's all stuff about you. Not stuff about your parents. Stuff about you. That'll change. I'll show you what it does. So, student info. We're going to go through and fill this stuff out. My mailing address is going to be 123 Street Boulevard. Street. And we're going to put Johnson City. That's in Tennessee. My zip code is 37601. And my email address is the greatest. Oh my goodness. The greatest ever 010101 at gmail.com. And that's why I asked me to do it again. I'm not typing all that again. That's what you get. Don't do that. You type it out. This doesn't matter because it doesn't exist. For you, make sure you type it twice so you don't misspell it. There's a reason they make you do this. Have I lived in Tennessee for 5 years? If you've lived in Tennessee for 5 years, you click yes. I have, and Lucas Nice Longer Care has. If you haven't, click no, and it'll ask you what your state of legal residence is. If you say Tennessee, then you'll say Tennessee. And then did you become a legal resident of Tennessee before 2014? And if you put yes, it's good. If you put no, it'll keep asking you questions. Just make sure you answer those right. That's pretty easy. Are you male or female? That's the question. You have to pick one or the other. I will say that according to this, this has to do with, honestly, it won't matter for anything except for when you get to the part where it asks you about the draft. But make sure you pick one of these. I'm going to pick male because I'm male. My telephone number will be 222-222-2222. Don't call that number. My driver's license number is 01010. I'm binary, boys. Can I keep popping? Okay, sure. And this one is Tennessee. Now, I get this asked all the time. What's marital status? That means, are you married? I'm not married. you probably are not married, so you're going to be single. The reason they ask this question is because not everybody who goes to college is from high school. So, I'm single. Usually the answer. Are you a U.S. citizen? If you answer no to this, then you're not going to be able to filter FAFSA. Okay? So, there are a couple of options. You may not be a U.S. citizen. You might be an eligible non-citizen. That's the same thing. You're fine. If you're not a citizen or an eligible non-citizen, you're not going to be able to fill it out. So, I'm going to say, yes, I'm a U.S. citizen. I have a social work good. My social is really good. Got some member C. Then I'll ask, are you registered with Selective Service? If you're a male, because males are required to sign up for the draft, which means that should the time ever come where we're needed to go to war and we don't want to go, we'll get drafted. And you have to go anyway. Just be ready for that. Okay? That's what this means. If you haven't signed, basically, are you 18 is the question here. If you aren't 18, I would put no, because obviously you haven't signed up for the draft unless you're 18 or close to it. And if you want them to register, I'd always put yes, because that's good. Now for this case, I'm going to put no because I don't want the Selective Service to get a random thing. But put yes for you if you're a male and you haven't signed up, because then you don't have to worry about it. It does it for you. Automation is good. And you have to do it anyway, otherwise you can't do anything in this country. So, what's your high school completion date? Most of you will be high school diploma, unless you're homeschooled. And if that's the case, well, then you're going to be a little bit different. But most people will have a high school diploma. What will your college grade level be? I get this question asked a lot. Well, Lucas, I took dual enrollment. Does not matter. You have never attended college. You've been in college classes, but you never attended college. So you're never attended college first year. And what degree or certificate will you be working on? That depends on what school you're going to. This is a research question, so it's not super big deal. But the breakdown essentially is going to be, if you're going to a TCAT or a technical school, something like beautician school or something along those lines, most likely you're going to get a certificate or a diploma, and then you tell whether it's 2 years or longer. If you're going to a community college, you're going to get an associate's degree. Depends on what you're getting it in. If you're getting it in a technical school thing, like a technical program like welding, you put technical. If you're getting anything else, put it in general education. Doesn't really matter. And if you're going to a university or four-year school, you're getting a bachelor's degree. For me, I'm going to say that I'm going to get a certificate diploma because I'm going to go learn how to do HVAC because that's a really good job right now. Will you have your first bachelor's degree? No, I will not. If you put yes, that means you're disqualified from A. So make sure you don't have your first bachelor's degree if you're coming straight out of high school, unless you have done a lot of dual enrollment. That would be impressive. If someone has done that, leave it down in the comments. I'd be impressed to talk to you. So be no. Are you interested in being considered for work study? Work study is the greatest thing in the history of things. As I'm going to tell you, it's so good. Essentially, work study is so good. You work on campus in a job. Now, it could be something like you could be on the mowing crew, if you want to do that. It could be something as innocuous as watching a library and like helping put up books. Either way, you get paid for it if you're eligible. And you get paid for it like you would a job. Most of the jobs aren't too hard. They're pretty simple jobs, kind of like being a teacher's aide is how I tend to describe it a lot of times. So I always put yes because it's free money that you get for just working a few hours a week. Were you a foster youth or any time in the foster care system? I don't know. If you were, then you put yes. If you weren't, then you put no. My character in this has not. Because it gets a little, that would make things too easy. I want to make it as complicated and filling this thing out as possible for me. For your parents, if you don't know, it's okay. That's right here. I don't know what school they completed. I have no idea. I haven't even talked. I've never even met my mom. So that'd be other unknown. That's okay. That's not a bad thing. This is a research question. It has nothing to do with you actually filling anything out. It's not going to change anything. Just put what you know, and if you don't know, it's okay. So I'm going to put other, because I don't actually know who Mr. and Miss Nicewalker Care are. And that's okay. So, still doing student information. We've now gotten away from the demographics, and now we're talking about schools. The first thing we're going to do is your high school. Okay? Now this one's going to go to, I'm going to make them go to Hampton High, because I actually have to choose one. Actually, I'll show you what it looks like. I'll do Hampton High School, which is in Hampton, Tennessee. Oops. That's why you don't get the backspace button, ladies and gentlemen, because it puts you back. Hopefully it saved. It did not. Okay, Hampton High School, it's in Tennessee. So I'm doing my high school. So this is why this thing is a little frustrating. Here's the thing. and I'm going to say this, you can hit next, okay? But I would strongly hit search, because search allows you to connect it to the school you've gone to. So I chose Hampton High School in Hampton. I'm going to hit select. You're like, well, it put in the same stuff that I put in. Yes, but now it's connected to that high school. So that information will connect to the high school's data, which is really good for them and good for you as well. Then you hit next. Now, notice this is still student information. There's a bunch of stuff here. It says, hey, I might be able to get some financial aid. That's good. Here's where I get to put colleges. I can put up to 10. Okay? So, this is for colleges, not for high schools. If you know your school's code, because some of you may, especially if you're like really hardcore, like I know exactly what school I want to go to, that's where I'm going to go. You may know it, that's good for you. You can go ahead and click this, and you can put the code in. I'm going to say I don't know it, and I'm going to go find ETSU, because that's what I know I want to go to, and I'm going to put Johnson City. Hit search, because I know ETSU is in Johnson City. So you can search it by name, or you can search it by location. So ETSU is there. Make sure you don't pick medicine or pharmacy school if you're going to a school that has multiple choices. You want to pick the undergraduate campus, which in this case is the main campus. And then I hit next. Now, I can add more schools if I want to. I'm not going to for the sake of me, just because it'll take longer to do this video. But you can add more if you want. You can add up to 10. The next screen I'll bring you to looks like this, and you have to tell them what your housing plans are. Now look, here's the thing. Could this change? Yes. Does it really matter what you put here? Nope. So, I'm going to put I'm going to live on campus. But if you're going to live with a parent or off campus, that's perfectly okay too. It's cool. And you can see some stuff about your college if you want to. I tell you, these numbers tend to be a little bit screwy, so be careful reading those and taking them as like gospel truth, because they may not be. Now we finished demographics. We've finished our schools. Now we're going to talk about our dependency status. If you watch the FSAID video, I've talked about, hey, you might need a parent stuff to help fudge FAFSA. Right now we're getting ready to find out if you do. So, were you born before January 1st, 1996? If you're in high school, you shouldn't be. You're probably getting a GED if you are. So it's going to be no. Are you married? If you are, put yes. If you're not, then put no. Easy. Will you be working on a master's or doctoral program? No. Not if you're going to school for the first time. You're not, so put no. Easy peasy. Next screen. Now, this is important. Some of you may have children. If you have kids, then this is important to read how it's stated. Do you have or will you have children who will receive more than half of their support from you between July the 1st and June 30th of 1920? So, will you have any kids who will receive their support from you? Do they live with you? Do you feed them? Do you buy them clothes? Do you buy them diapers or whatever it may be? If you provide that, then you put yes. If you do not, if your parents pay for all that stuff, if they live with your parents and you live with your parents, then you do not support them by yourself. So I'm gonna put no. Okay. This question here is the same. I'm gonna put no for the sake of this. Do you have dependents? This could be other than your own children, right? So this would be like your siblings or family, friends, or stuff. It's the same question. Do they receive more than half their support from you? And you can put yes or no. Now, if you put yes, that's going to make you an independent student. What that means is that you won't need parent information. But if you put no, like I'm going to have to, then you're still technically a dependent student. So there's a bunch of questions down through you've got to answer. So do you have kids? Or do you have anybody who lives with you that receives the half of their support from you alone, from you? Now, you have to read through these. These are important questions. Are you currently serving on active duty in the armed forces? You probably aren't for anything other than training, so you're not going to be able to click that. Are you a veteran? Most likely you're not, because you're still in high school, so that's probably going to be a no. And any time since you turned age 13, this is important, were both of your parents deceased? Were you in foster care? Or were you a dependent or ward of the court? If that's the case, you're going to click this. If not, then you leave it alone. As determined by a court in your state of legal residence, are you an emancipated minor? If you don't know what this is, you're probably not one. If you are an emancipated minor, you'll know it, most likely. Does someone other than your parent or step-parent have legal guardianship of you as determined by a court in your state of legal residence? Now, legal guardianship is not power of attorney. It's not they watch over you just whenever. This is has a court given them an explicit document that says they are your legal guardians to someone other than your parents or a step parent. If that's true, you're going to click this. If not, don't click it. If you have questions about any of this stuff or any of this stuff beforehand and you're not sure, seek out a professional. Ask your counselors at your school. Call a financial aid officer at the school you're looking at. They can help you understand this a little bit easier if you have questions. And it's important to not answer them the wrong way, because otherwise it might make things very difficult. I'm going to put none of the above for these, because that Lucas doesn't have any of this. Now, this question is important too. On or after July 1st, not 2018, were you homeless or in risk of being homeless? Well, what this means is an important definition. It means, have you been booted out of your home? Are you living with someone other than your parents or whoever has legal custody over you by the courts? Are you couch surfing? Are you visiting homeless shelters on the regular? Those things are important. Now, if that's going on in your life, that's okay. You need to make sure that you answer this correctly. If you click yes, it's going to bring you to a bunch of questions that may ask, how can you prove that you are being homeless? That's the same thing for all these other questions. If you answer yes on any of the questions we've been doing on any of this section, you have to prove it. If you've got a court document or a letter or something along those lines that says, hey, this happened, that's okay. And there may be someone at your school as a homeless liaison who may say, yeah, that they've been living with their grandparents because their parents didn't let them live there anymore. That's okay. That's a good answer for yes. Otherwise, we'll click no and keep going. So if you continue to click no through all those questions, it'll say, I have to provide information about my parents. If you don't have information about your parents, things get really complicated. You need to call the school you're looking at going to and talk to them, because that's going to be a special circumstance and they'll have to tell you what you need to do. Otherwise, you're going to provide information. If you were independent, you chose yes to any of those questions we answered earlier, and you can prove it, then you don't have to provide information about your parents. And I wouldn't, because you don't have to. So, you can skip through it. So I'm going to provide it. There we go. Now, notice it's changed. It's not about me anymore. This is about my parents. So, what are the marital status of your parents? Here's a bunch of options. Read through them all. My parents were never married. Okay, you can click that. Unmarried, but they live together. They've never been married, but they live together. That's different. They're married or remarried. They can be remarried. If they were divorced, but they got remarried, they're now remarried, not divorced. And then you have widowed. I'm going to put my parents as married. And they got married on the same day I was born. I don't know. Sure. That wouldn't work, but it's what's going to happen regardless. My parents' social security number. So this is for your first parent. You get to pick who's parent number one, your father or your mother. Mine's going to be, it doesn't matter. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3. Oh, it's going to be 1, 2, 1. Let's do this. It's going to be 1, 2, 1. Like that. And the last name is Nice Longer Care. First initial is B for best. And believe it or not, they were born on the same day as me in 1981. Sure. Now it's going to ask you for your other parent. Because they were married. If you only put that they're divorced or separated, you only have to answer this for one. For me, I did both, so I'm going to do, this one's going to be 1, 5, 1, 5, 1, 5. And then parent's last name is Nice Longer Care. And first initial is G, for greatest. I'm named after my dad. Sure. Parent's date of birth. This one's going to be 02, 1990, or 82. Good stuff. Then you put in your parents' email address. If you don't know, don't fill it out. It's cool. Have your parents lived in Tennessee for at least 5 years? I'm going to put yes, because I have, so we're good. GG. Fill out your email address if you know it. If you don't, that's okay too. Now this is important. This is very much. They made this a lot easier on you. It used to be difficult. It makes things a lot easier. So they're going to say you have 2 parents and yourself. This is determining how many people live in your house. First question. Do you have any other siblings? If you have more siblings that live with you or who your parents pay to keep up, If you got a brother who like lives in an apartment, but your parents pay for the apartment and pay all of his bills, that's perfectly okay to put him in here. I'm gonna say I have one brother who's like off in, I don't know, California. My parents help pay for him. Now, you have other people who you live with, you, and your parents provide their support. So that's like your uncle. My uncle's down on his luck. He's living with me right now. He's had a hard time. My parents help pay for him, so I'm going to put him in here. That's my uncle. So my household size is 5. Now, the only person in college next year is going to be me. Oh, me and my brother. There'll be 2 of us. So there'll be 2 of us in college. That's how it's going to go. So how many people will be in college from this number next year? There'll be 2. Because that counts me. Parents don't count in that question, by the way. Now, we get to this part about financial information. You're going to need your parents' help on this. I'll tell you that right now. Did they complete tax returns? If they've completed them, you're going to put already completed. And say, what is your parents' tax filing status? My parents were married, so I'm going to put they were married, filed joint. Your parents will know most of this stuff. And if they don't, if they have the tax returns, it's at the very top. It's easy to find. But your parents, if they're divorced, they may put single or head of household. If they're married, they may file together, which is joint, or they may file separate. And then if they're widowed, that'd be fine, as well. I'm gonna put they married, file joint. Now, my parents work from Puerto Rico. They didn't file any Puerto Rican taxes or any foreign taxes, so put no. It brings up this box. If you can, use this box. If you can't, that's okay. Because what this does is it's gonna link to the IRS. All of the tax information that's in this has already been submitted. If they file taxes, it's already in the system. But there's no reason to type it in again. What this does is allows you to pick your parent, type in their FSA ID stuff, which they can make if they haven't already made one. Type in their stuff, and it'll take you to the IRS. You'll type in your address, pull that information, poke it into your FAFSA, and it fills out a whole bunch of stuff for you. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. If you can use it, try to. If for some reason it's hard and you can't, you can just skip it. And that's okay. So my parents would have filed 1040 because most people in the United States fill a 1040 or 1048. I'm going to say put 1040. And let's say they made $50,000. That's a pretty good amount for a family of 5. That's actually a low amount for a family of 5, but we'll see what it does. How much did parent 1 make? Well, my dad works, and my mom doesn't. My mom's a stay-at-home mom, so she stays with us, and she's 0. So that's how I'm going to do it. So, actually, I think I did it backwards, so I think I had dad here, but it's fine. Mom's a working mom, and dad stays at home. That's how it goes. So this stuff, it tells you where the forms are if you need to look those lines up, but it also tells you, like, what did they make from working. This is only from working. If they receive disability, that comes somewhere else. If they receive Social Security, that comes from somewhere else. I'll show you that in a little bit. So this is just if they worked, how much did they make? It doesn't really matter if it's perfect. Enter the amount of your parents' income tax. Now, this will be on their tax return, so I would look it up. If you can't find the tax return, this is a difficult question to guess. I'm going to guess about 10%. It's usually a little bit higher than that. I'm going to put 5,000. And exemptions, this number can fluctuate. Find it on the tax return. You can find it in this line. It'll tell you exactly where it's at. I'm going to say there were 6. I don't know what they are. Now, this is a lot of complicated stuff. You're going to read through it, but a lot of times it'll be a 0. If your parents were in the military, they won't have this. If your parents weren't in AmeriCorps or like doing like receiving their own special college grant money, they won't have this. Unless they have education credits, unless they're in college and they're getting tax credit things, they won't have this. Unless they're doing some IRA, like high-level stuff, they won't have any of this. Tax-exempt interest, that's usually pretty rare as well, but it'll tell you where it's at on the form. All this you can find on your tax return. Untaxed portions of IRA distributions. This is complicated stuff. Here's where you want to look for it. There you go. Say you pay taxes. And then untaxed portions of pensions. Most of the time, it's all going to be zeros. That's why I went ahead and fill them out for you. Because these are pretty rare. If they have them, though, you top them in. It's just filling stuff out. Now, the first question is, do your parents pay child support to anyone? If they do, you put it in here. If they have a cooperative education program, that's pretty rare as well. But if they have that, they'll know what this is, and they'll tell you what to put here. And then this is need-based employment programs. This is like federal work study for your parents, not for you, as well as fellowships and assistantships. That's if they're going back to school. Most of the time, once again, these are pretty much always zero, unless there's some special circumstances. Now, your parents receive child support. That's where you put it here. Are your parents a part of the military or clergy, and they receive special living allowances? That's also pretty rare, but you'll know to put that in there. They'll let you know. Tax-deferred pensions, this is some complicated stuff. Most likely it's going to be a zero. Now this is the part if your parents receive disability or workers' comp because they've been laid off. This is where you put it in this little thing here. So this is like untaxed income. And then this is also a different type of disability for veterans. So if your parents are veterans and they receive disability for that, that goes here. Now, what are their assets? They're looking at your parents own extra homes, your parents have a lot of money in the bank, or do they own any businesses, like really big businesses? If your parents don't have any of those things, the answer's probably going to be no. If it's a yes, you're going to have to fill out and tell how much money they have in the bank, what's their net worth of their investments, including real estate, and then what their current businesses are. My parents don't have that in this, so we'll put no. Now notice, changed again. Now we're back to you. So you, the student, have you completed an IRS tax return? I didn't work in 2017, so I'm going to put not going to file. Most of you probably will put that. If you did do one and you have it, then you can do the same thing as your parents. Pull it from the IRS, boom, done. I'm going to put not going to file and show you what that looks like. How much did I earn from working? If I didn't have a job, zero. Easy game, easy life. Now, do I pay child support? No. Do I have any of this stuff? No. I'm a high schooler. I don't have any of that. Do I receive any child support? No, because I don't have any kids. I already answered that question. I don't have any of this stuff either. I'm not on disability, because there may be some disability benefits you might receive. That's perfectly fine. Put that in here. If not, it's a zero. Easy. Boom. Alright, I'm a high school kid who doesn't work a job. I have exactly $20 in the bank. Boom. I don't own any real estate. And I don't own a business. Cry every time. That's it. That's my life right there. And guess what, guys? We're almost done. Now, remember when I talked about at the very beginning how you can pay someone to fill out your FAFSA? That's what a preparer is. Someone who you pay to fill out your FAFSA. And unless you're getting paid to fill out your FAFSA, which you're not, then you're not a preparer. That's enough. Then you get this. I'm going to collapse all these. Basically, this is all the sections you filled out. You can go through and check them. Make sure you put the right information one last time. You print it if you want to. Then the next page. This is the final page. Then you're done. You got to provide your signatures. Now, remember how I told you you had to make out FSA ID? Well, this is what you got to do. Now, this is that same. Remember the FSA ID agreement you made? This is basically the same thing. So I'm going to put I agree to it. So I asked for my FSA ID. I don't have my FSA ID, so I'm going to put next. And then my parents don't have their FSA ID either, because I'm making it, and I'm going to put next. Now, I can submit without signatures. Actually, I think I can do that. I'm going to print a signature. Alright, we're going to submit without signatures. It's not a good idea to do that because you have to go back in and change it later, but if you have to do that, that's okay. And I'm going to submit this without signatures so I can show you the final page. And then I'm just going to submit it. So it says, congratulations! You've submitted it. Now, good chance is that it may crash on this page. The website's kind of new when I'm making this video, so it may crash, but that's okay. You'll get this in the email. Now I'm going to scroll down. It'll show you your EFC. This is a fake EFC. This is fake information here. This EFC, this number that will be shown here, is what they expect your family to be able to contribute to your education. If it's a high number like this one, you're probably not going to get much money from the government. But if it's a low number, like a lot of times it is, then you may receive money. You may receive like lots of money. Current Pell Grant, which is what you get for having a low income, is like $6,000 a year. and it usually goes up every year. That's a lot of money to help you go to school. They'll also offer you some loans. You want to try and stay away from those if you can, because loans you have to pay back. Pell Grant you don't. But there's always that option should you need it. And it'll show you the school zone, your information, your IRS information if you need that. And that's it. You have now submitted your FAFSA. And it only took me 35 minutes. Probably will take you a little bit longer. I would set aside 40 minutes or so, plus or minus, usually to fill it out. I'd print the page so you have it. It'll also email it to you. Then what will happen is in a couple of days, 3 to 5 days, you'll receive another email and it'll say, hey, your FAFSA's been processed, good for you. Log back into it, check it, make sure it doesn't have any errors. If it has an error, it'll tell you, you have to go back and fix it. Then, otherwise, you're done with your FAFSA. The only thing you got to worry about now is verification, which you'll hear from your schools from Matt. So, I'm going to end this video with this. Once you finish your FAFSA, watch your emails, because you're going to get them. Make sure you're reading that email every day, especially the ones you send to schools, because they'll tell you if you've been selected for verification. And if that's the case, you got to prove some of this stuff by giving documents to your school. Please, make my life and your counselor's life easier. Read your emails, and we can help you with those things. And then finally, go forward. Do great things, because now you got somebody behind you to help give you a little bit extra money. So as always, guys, thanks for coming by. I hope this was helpful. And if you have questions, like I said, reach out to a financial aid representative. If there's anything in here you have questions about, you're like, oh, I don't know, this is a really difficult situation. I'm like living here, but I also receive support from here, and there's a situation here. Call your school. They'll help you, because that's what they're there for. And you can also ask your counselors at your school too, because they're always happy to help too. But anyways, until next time. Well, I usually say we'll see you guys next time, so I guess I messed that up. Dang. Anyways, we'll see you guys next time.